so I'd been at my previous employers for 22 years as a groundsman, 10 years as head of grounds, and it just got to the point where I just, wanted to fancy doing something different. Didn't fancy going massively south, rather come north. I've got a little bit of Scottish ancestry from my grandma's from Scotland, and I've been to Edinburgh a few times, and I seen the job advertised, and I thought, I'm just gonna have a go at this and see where it takes us. So applied, interviewed, and was successful. But it was wanting to have a new challenge really, and so I started on the 3rd of February, and then obviously we're only around about 4 to 5 weeks in, and country's in lockdown with COVID. So the employers were really good. So they sent me back to England, because my family had stayed in England because my eldest daughter was in the middle of doing GCSEs, and obviously the education system in Scotland is different. So the family decided to stay in England until my daughter finished her exams. And obviously lockdown. So I was back home for a couple of weeks, furloughed. Then we came back up to Scotland to continue the work. So didn't get a chance to really work with the team particularly that much, because we were, social distancing, and some of the team were on furlough and some of the team were working. So it was an interesting first few months, if not the first 18 months. So it was interesting. Obviously, like I said, challenging time, not only because of schools were shut down. We did stay open for key workers' children, so we were looking after the site for that. But obviously, with no fixtures to prep for anything. But obviously, as a city, Edinburgh's a beautiful city. I couldn't go and meet people. Couldn't go to the pub to meet people. I couldn't go watch rugby or play golf or watch any other sports or do anything. So I was pretty at work for the first sort of 12 to 18 months. It was work, back home to the flat, get out, do a little bit of exercise on the bike, a little bit of running, just to try and keep me sane a little bit. It's tough. I had a lot of FaceTiming to my wife, my kids, but my dad as well. So I would speak to my dad probably 3-4 times a week on FaceTime. So that kept me sane a little bit, and my dad's always kept me on the straight and narrow, and assured me I was doing the right thing. 4 years down the line, 100% made the right decision. But it was a challenging around those period, and so it's a lot of time speaking to family via FaceTime and my best mates and things like that. Yeah. So my wife was 100% behind me. In anything, she was probably one that really pushed me as well. And then my mum and my dad. My mum and dad live in the same village that I'm from, so I've always been around them. And they were really, really supportive of me coming up to Scotland. Obviously, eventually the grandkids moving away from them as well. But we're only 3 hours away. They come up and they spend a week at a time, if not 10 days at a time up here. They like the city. They come up. They then go and visit friends. All supportive. A little tricky time with my girls, because they were worried about leaving the school friends, the mates. So we had ups and downs with that. But now they love the city life, the things that are available to them that they weren't before when we lived in the countryside. Do you want to go to the cinema with their friends? They can do that. They jump on a bus and they can go. As where back where we're from in the countryside, you were 45-50 minute drive to get to the nearest cinema. So and it's been good. I've really enjoyed it. My youngest daughter comes with me as well now, so she comes and volunteers. She quite enjoys it. So one day, you never know, she may be a groundswoman. We'll see. You learn things off different people all the time. Constantly learning all the time. I mean, I still have a friend of mine a couple of guys that used to be my head of grounds when I was coming through the system. I still speak to them regular way. They're my mentors still, really, because they've been in the industry 15, 20 years longer than what I've been in the industry. Try and get visits to other schools, and they can pick the brains of the other groundsmen or the other staff that are there. And we're going to try and get to a few trade shows as well. We're off to Scots Turf tomorrow, so taking two of the team out with me to there tomorrow. So they're free to go and look and ask questions and speak to whoever they want, and hopefully they'll pick something up. So no, it's been really good for me. So I found that group around about sort of 13, 14 months into the job. When I went along one wet, windy night, and I've not looked back since. You know, I go at least every week, sometimes twice a week if I can. I played a lot of rugby as a lad, and then I coached a lot of rugby. So I've always been in and around big groups of males, where you can have that little bit of laugh and a joke and everything else. So for me, the groups it worked. It's sort of taken place of that a little bit. It's a male dominated group. There is female members, you know, that do come along and swim with us, or my wife will sometimes, or if I've got friends visiting, they'll come up. But for me, you know, it's been really good because it gets me away from my work environment, and it's a group of people from all aspects, different cultures, different work. You know, NHS workers, bus drivers, grave diggers, me as a groundsman, interior designers. You know, there's such a big mix of different people, and it's it gets me away from my work environment, and I can just relax. And the cold water therapy is really good. We have quite a lot of socials as well, and whether it's we're not scared of having a bit of a chat and talking about our problems. If we've had problems, if we've had a bit of a bad day at work, you know, we can talk about it there if we need to. Or won't say I massively struggle for mental health, but I have good days and I have bad days, and I've had days when I've been stressed, and going and meeting up the guys makes a big difference, and getting in the water. And I live on campus. I look out my window. You can see the first team cricket square, the first team rugby pitch, second team rugby pitch. So there's always something, even though I can come home after work and I can see it, there's always something going on. Looking out the window, there's somebody on the pitch that probably shouldn't be on the pitch, so you think you have to go out and deal with that. So getting away from the off-site with the swimming and things like that is great. The school were really good. So I was in a flat for the first 6 months while the house was being renovated. So they renovated the house for us to move into. So the first 6 months I was in a flat. And then obviously my family moved up. But obviously before that was COVID, so they were really good. They made sure that they said, right, get yourself home, make sure you're with your family, because your family's the most important thing. We'll work out what we're going to do with adding work once we know what the nation's going to do. So go be with your family. So that was great. And then my wife was self-employed, so they said, yeah, she did some work for the school, some freelance work for the school, so they helped us out that way. My youngest daughter came to the school, so they got us a place at the school for my youngest daughter. So she did 2 years. She's finished now. She's gone through apprenticeship. My eldest daughter went straight into an apprenticeship, and yeah, they've been really supportive.